Welcome once again to the Federal. Today, let's talk about Kerala's healthcare sector and a name that has suddenly become impossible to ignore: Blackstone. Over the last few years, this American investment giant has quietly acquired stakes in some of India's biggest hospital networks. Through KIMS Health and the proposed merger involving Aster DM Healthcare, Blackstone is steadily becoming one of the most influential players in Kerala's private healthcare landscape. For some, this is a sign of confidence in Kerala's economy and healthcare market. For others, it raises uncomfortable questions about the growing influence of global corporate capital in a sector that directly affects people's lives. So, who exactly is Blackstone? Why is it investing thousands of crores in Kerala's hospitals? And what could this mean for patients, healthcare costs, and the future of a state with a very good public health model? Let's take a closer look. 1,000 crore rupees entering Kerala's healthcare sector should normally be seen as good news. After all, hospitals need money. Healthcare infrastructure needs expansion. New technology, more beds, better facilities, and specialist care all require investment. But when that investment comes from a global giant like Blackstone, the conversation cannot stop at the size of the check. It has to begin there. Blackstone's influence is set to grow further through the merger of Quality Care and Aster DM Healthcare, another major healthcare provider with deep roots in Kerala. The question is not whether Blackstone has entered Kerala's healthcare sector. It already has. The real question is what happens when one of the world's largest investment firms begins to shape the future of healthcare in a state that has long been celebrated for its public health achievements. To understand that, we need to understand what Blackstone actually is. Founded in New York in 1985, Blackstone today manages assets worth more than $1 trillion. It invests in everything from real estate and infrastructure to data centers, financial services, and healthcare. This is not a hospital company. This is not a healthcare charity. This is an investment machine. Its primary responsibility is not to the patients. It is to the investors seeking returns. And that distinction matters because healthcare is unlike most other sectors. When a company invests in a shopping mall or a warehouse, profitability is the main metric. But when investment enters healthcare, questions of affordability, accessibility, and public welfare inevitably arise. Supporters of private investment argue that such capital is essential. They point out that healthcare is becoming increasingly expensive and technologically intensive. They argue that large investors can help hospitals expand faster, modernize services, and compete globally. There is merit in that argument. But there is another side as well. Across the world, Blackstone's business practices have attracted severe criticism, particularly in the housing sector. The company has faced accusations from activists, researchers, and even UN officials over aggressive rent increases and the financialization of housing. Healthcare is obviously different from housing, but the broader concern remains the same. What happens when sectors that directly affect people's lives become increasingly driven by investment logic? Kerala presents a particularly attractive market for investors. The state has one of the highest life expectancies in India. It has a rapidly aging population. Lifestyle diseases are increasing. Demand for advanced medical care continues to grow. Most importantly, Malayalis are willing to spend on healthcare. Government data consistently shows that Kerala's out-of-pocket health expenditure is among the highest in the country. In simple terms, people here are spending large amounts of their own money for treatment rather than relying entirely on public systems. For an investment firm, that represents a market opportunity. and Blackstone is not alone in recognizing it. Several global investment firms have entered Kerala's healthcare space in recent years. Foreign capital is flowing into hospitals at an unprecedented scale. This raises an uncomfortable but necessary question. Is Kerala becoming a healthcare destination because of its strong public health legacy? Or is it becoming a healthcare market because of its ability to generate profits? The answer may be a bit of both. Private investment is not inherently bad. In many cases, it can improve efficiency, expand capacity, and bring world-class infrastructure. But healthcare cannot be treated like any other commodity. A patient is not simply a customer. A hospital is not simply a business. Public health cannot be left entirely to market forces. That is why regulation becomes crucial. As global capital enters Kerala's healthcare sector, the responsibility of governments and regulators becomes even greater. The challenge is not to stop investment. The challenge is to ensure that investment serves public interest alongside private profit. Because Kerala's healthcare story was never built on only private hospitals. It was built through decades of public investment, community health programs, primary healthcare network, and a model that placed public welfare at its heart. The arrival of Blackstone marks a new chapter in that story. Whether it becomes a success story of investment and growth or warning about the commercialization of healthcare will depend not on Blackstone alone, but on the rules, safeguards, and priorities that Kerala chooses to put in place today.